In the sun-drenched hills of rural Montana, where the fields stretch endlessly and time seems to slow, a young widow named Claire Harper stood at the edge of her father's land, her land now. She wore her late husband's coat even in the spring, not just for warmth, but for the weight of memory it carried. It had been just over a year since she buried him, and now the banks were circling, ready to take the family farm unless she could prove it was still viable. And family-run. The law was cruel in its practicality, without a male owner or partner listed on the property. Claire's claim was considered unstable by the local cooperative that held the mortgage. And so, with reluctant resolve and her heart tucked behind a wall of pride, she put out a notice in town, looking for a man to pretend to be my husband for 1 year. Room, board, and small wage. No questions asked. The ad spread like wildfire. Some men came out of curiosity. Others came with bad intentions, but none felt right. Not until a stranger walked in silent, tall, with weather-worn hands and eyes that had seen storms. His name was Eli. He barely spoke more than a few words, just nodded when she explained the arrangement, and offered to work in exchange for nothing but food and a place to sleep. He didn't ask about the money. He didn't ask about her. That silence somehow comforted her, so she took him in. Eli worked from dawn till dark, repairing fences, tilling the soil, fixing what had been broken since her husband's death. The townsfolk began to talk. Claire's found someone, they'd whisper. That new guy, strange one, but he works like a mule. Claire didn't care. She kept her distance. But Eli's presence changed things. The crops started growing. Again, the house felt less hollow. Her son Jamie, who had stopped laughing since his father passed, began to giggle when Eli let him ride the tractor. Then, one evening, during a rainstorm, Claire's tractor broke down in the far field. She tried to fix it herself, but the mud swallowed her boots, and she collapsed in tears. That's when Eli came running through the storm, lifted her gently, carried her home without saying a word. That night, she asked, "Why are you really here, Eli?" He looked away. "Sometimes people need to heal in silence." Summer brought renewal. The fields bloomed. The coop visited for their evaluation and left impressed. "You and your husband make a great team," the man said. Claire smiled weakly, guilt eating at her because the lie was becoming harder to carry. And then one day, a man from the city came looking for Eli. Dressed in a crisp suit, he stood at the gate and asked Claire, "Have you seen a man named Elijah Graves?" Her heart sank. "Why?" The man hesitated. "He's a multimillionaire. Disappeared a year ago. Owns land all over the state. Walked away from it all." Claire couldn't believe it. She confronted Eli that night. He sighed. "Yes. I walked away from money, pressure, power. My brother ran the business into ruin with greed. I couldn't watch anymore. I wanted to live simply, to help someone real. I saw your ad and thought, maybe this is where I can be useful." She was stunned. "You fixed my land, my life." He looked into her eyes for the first time fully. "And you fixed mine." The story made waves. Local news picked it up. Mysterious farmer with secret millionaire. But by then, Claire didn't care. The harvest came in stronger than ever. The land was saved. The fake marriage had grown into something real. 1 year to the day after Eli walked into her life. He knelt on one knee, not out of obligation. It's not for a contract, but because he had fallen in love with the woman who gave him a reason to return to life. And Claire, she said yes. It's not just for her land, but for her heart.